What was the most porno situation you've ever had? I was on a school trip to NYC and we were in a very crowded elevator consisting of people from my class and people from a class coming from another school. As we were going to my destination, the girl in front of me started backing up into my junk while she was speaking to her friends. I thought that maybe it was unintentional since the elevator was so packed, so I tried my best to shift my legs so she wasn't straight up crushing my dick with her ass. As I started to move around, she would move around with me. In 8th grade, me was having trouble keeping his hormones in check. Eventually the elevator door opened and it let us all off. As we were getting off, I saw her walking with her friends. She turned around, smiled and winked at me, then proceeded to walk away with her friends. This all happened at the Holocaust Museum. Girl, spread eagle on my bed in short shorts talking about how flexible she is. Me, you even paying attention? You asked me who David Attenborough was and I'm showing you. Please focus. Watch as the human male fumbles his mating opportunity with a willing female. This will be an important lesson he will remember next mating season. Backstory. I met this girl on Tinder and she in her profile he said deadass looking for dude friends. Nothing romantic. I took this quite literal and we became friends. About 2 weeks after meeting her, she called in a panic and asked me to come over and check her attic because she was hearing noises from up there. Being the only guy that she was friends with in the area, new grad student, I came over. Naturally, those spooky ghosts left ectoplasm everywhere. I told her that for future reference, if she wanted to she could just ask. My roommate at the time and I were hosting some friends in our apartment. We both got pretty drunk and, when everyone finally left, I was cleaning up and she had gone to bed. I get a text from her asking if I can come sit with her for a bit, as she felt dizzy from being drunk and could use the company. I go to her room and sit on a chair next to her bed. She's laying face down with her blanket over her and we're just talking. She laughs and says you can sit on the bed. You know, so I move over and sit in the edge of her bed. This is when I notice she's naked under the covers. In college I lived with 2 other guys in one apt and my dog, and the apartment below us was 3 girls. I talked to one of the girls since we had a class together. One fall break I stayed in town to work as I didn't have a job back home. So did this girl. Well, one day I'm at work and had to stay late but also had to let my dog out. So I texted my neighbor if she was available, if she could get my hide a key and let my dog out. She asked what she'd get in return jokingly as she loved my dog. I forgot what exactly I said, but I was somewhere along sexual favors, to which she replied okay. And for the remainder of the year we would just text each other to come upstairs or downstairs to hook up. Don't think that'll ever happen again. Complimented a girl on how amazing her boobs are while in the restroom. Proceeded to show me and let me touch them. It was an interesting experience. She has the most beautiful aqua eyes. You think she would have let you touch her eyes? Met a girl through a friend in college. She had a lot of issues with her laptop, so I came over one day and fixed it up for her. She paid me with a blowjob and finished me off on her face. She took a selfie with my phone and I haven't seen or spoken with her much since. I had a pest control guy come into my condo without really knocking when I was about 20 years old. I had just gotten out of the shower, so I was in only a bathrobe. I also had just done laundry, so all my delicates like bras, panties and lacy lingerie were hanging around to dry. I have no idea what that poor guy was thinking I was trying to do, but I swear I just didn't realize he was coming. Hopefully not on your clean delicates. The carpenter renovating my room thought I was gay. I'm a straight guy. We were alone in the house. I finished taking a shower and was only in my towel, and I innocuously analyzed his shirtless torso in all its glory, wondering what routine is he doing in the gym. Maybe I was staring too hard. He then approached me and tried to make out with me. I pushed him and laughed and said no. He said he thought I wanted to have sex with him with all the stares I was giving him. Lesson learned: to be more aware how I'm staring at people. Pub. Married couple sit down and start talking about a threesome with me, how they have done it before. I was young and dumb and got weirded out and left. She was hot too. My friend called me to ask if I could help her change the shower head. Sure, no biggie. Then after I do it she asks if I want a massage. I'm laying on my stomach and next thing I know she's topless giving me a massage and things went from there. Senior year I took a shower with 2 girls at once. So how's mom and grandma doing these days? My freshman year of college a girl was going door to door in the dorms offering to give head for someone to do her chemistry homework. Never been so upset I didn't pay attention in high school chem. Back when I delivered pizza I was greeted at the door by a woman wearing the skimpiest of clothing, nearly completely see-through. I think she noticed that I was looking at her nipples and she mentioned her and her husband were swingers. Asked me to come inside but my anxious ass declined so she just took off her top and gave me some cash. Reading this thread has made me realize how painfully boring my life is. I was watching porn in the living room when my stepmom walked in. It was nothing like the simulations. Burning Man. Entered a tiny geodesic done with a girl. 2 girls in bikinis followed us in and literally sat down and spread her legs wide open at me, grinning. I probably would have done the thing but the girl I was with was not into it. To be fair you dodged a burning sandpaper. Played Monopoly with my girlfriend at the time and she was losing really bad so she tried to seduce me into giving her better trade deals. I obviously denied and continued to dominate her in Monopoly until she just flipped the board. And then we f***ed anyways. Win-win for me. Go for a walk in the park and get pulled into the trees to have sex cause we couldn't wait to get home. What park did you go to? I'll make a note to avoid it and its rapey trees. Gives a whole new meaning to getting wood. My neighbor locked herself out of her townhouse dorm over winter break. I was the only other resident living in the complex at the time. The resident assistant who had a master key bailed to his girlfriend's place 4 hours away and wouldn't be back for another 2 days, but said he may return sooner. If we called the building director the neighbor would be fined $200 for losing her keys and the RA whom we all liked would be fired. Offered Lydia the neighbor the option of hanging out since it was a townhouse and there was room. She said she would hang out until she could find somewhere else to go and made a few phone calls that went unanswered. Ordered pizza and watched a movie that evening until she fell asleep on the couch. I put a pillow under her head and a blanket over her and went to bed. Woke up with her next to me in the morning. Spent the next 2 days intermittently having sex, watching movies and making meals. She had this thing about hanging out in only t-shirts, underwear and socks. It seemed like every meal prep was interrupted by us having to put things on simmer and go have sex. Pizza delivery but without sex. I lost my virginity working at a bar because my boss said to me, "Would you f*** that girl over there?" I said, "Yeah, for sure," and he said, "You're cut. Punch out and take her home." To which I had to really wonder if he was f***ing with me. But no, he was not. Plot twist. Boss didn't care about your love life. He just didn't want to pay you overtime. The boss paid a hooker for the shy boy. I was on a date last week with a very attractive girl. Great body. Gorgeous face. Very hot. We're nearing the end of dinner and we start talking about sex and other atypical first date dinner conversation stuff. I don't know what I said but she kind of just paused for a second, looked at me seductively, and said, "Would you like to go back to my place and eat my pussy?" My jaw dropped. Never had that one happen before and probably never will again. Well, she's stupid because you just ate dinner. My coworker came to my office and said, "Come with me." She starts leading me down to the basement where there's never any other people. Turns out she just needed me to carry something heavy. Best friend got married just after college. Got paired with someone in the wedding party I had never met. While driving this older Jewish grad student to the bride's parents' place to the after party she remarks, "I'm glad you know how to drive a stick because this is the only stick I can drive," and reaches over and grabs my junk for the rest of the ride. We banged all over 2 different rooms and a living room sectional that night while everyone was passed out all over the house. I got laid before the groom did that night. I was a cable guy. I did an install at an apartment that turned out to be a porn studio. They were interviewing a girl for a potential job, asking what sort of scenes she'd be open to doing. As I recall, she was into lesbian stuff and interracial, but not anal. Nothing happened. But in my mind I was thinking, I'm pretty sure this is how most 1980s porn scenes start. A lady invited me to her place for dinner. She failed to mention that she was married and her husband and kid were at dinner too. It was incredibly awkward, but even more so when we went to room and I seen a camera lens poking out from underneath some clothes. I thanked her for dinner and bailed. Delivered pizza to a hotel where a drunken orgy was going on. Customer gestured to me, 19-year-old nerd girl, mousy and unattractive. Then to the scene, which included a guy snorting coke off a stripper's back, and asked, "Wanna play?" Turned him down because I was more concerned about paying rent. Also turned down his tip offer of a baggie of cocaine. He tipped me $50, though, so that was cool. I drove my best friend around while he had a three-way in the back seat. You are a true brother. The world needs more people like you. Put that up on your resume as team player. In college, and it was my 21st birthday party, celebrating at my house off campus. Girls from other colleges were there. The night was over and I was sleeping in my room when a girl I knew from another school came in. 20 minutes later we're having sex. Her friend female walks in and sees, and we stop. But in my most Parker Lewis can't lose moment ever, I say, "Are you just gonna stand there or take your shirt off?" She laughs, closes the door behind her, then takes her shirt off and joins in. Best birthday ever. My mom hired a guy to build us a deck, and I saw him looking at me through my upstairs window on the first day. He was super hot and Russian, and the idea of us being alone and him working while I brought him drinks and snacks was so exciting. Me, being an 18-year-old, was already sold into the idea of screwing this contractor. We f***ed on the last day of installation. He was a good lay, but the deck turned out like shit. That's so disappointing. I hate it when a contractor does bad work. And f*** my kids. I went to a housewarming party back in the city where I went to college shortly after graduating. Because I moved out of town, I arranged with my friends to just crash on the couch when the party is over. Great time. Everyone gets pretty drunk. And a cute friend from college shows up, also from out of town. Let's call her Marisa. Marisa is also planning to spend the night on the couch. It's a big old L shape, so there's plenty of room for both of us. I always had a bit of a crush on Marisa, but she's had a European boyfriend for the entire approximately 2 years that I'd known her. He came to visit her for a few weeks, so I know him, and he is just an absolutely fantastic guy. I'd never try to hook up with Marisa, but if she makes moves on me it would be hard to resist. Party winds down, everyone heads out, goes to sleep, and I'm about ready to knock out too. But Marisa says no, you have to watch the first episode of my favorite show Shameless, which we had been chatting about earlier. So we start watching, get a bit cuddly, and I'm just enjoying myself and the show. We are well into the second episode when Marisa gets up, walks in front of the TV, stares me in the eyes, and takes off her pants. I say holy shit, Marisa, thinking she just pulled the power move of the century. Snap back to reality. She starts to squat and I realize this girl is drunk, sleepwalking, and about to pee on the floor. Again I say holy shit, Marisa. I run over and get her to the bathroom, still laughing about it a couple years later. I used to work at a restaurant and a colleague of mine slipped, spilling all the drinks over me as I was trying to catch her. Since my boss lived above the restaurant, he offered me to take a shower upstairs to clean myself up. I gladly accepted. However, this was never communicated to his wife, so she thought her husband was in the shower and decided to surprise him. So she snuck into the bathroom, it didn't have a lock, got naked and pulled the shower curtains open in one quick motion while striking a pose. To her surprise, it wasn't her husband that was showering, it was me. I also happened to be facing the shower curtain as she pulled it open. We both froze for a couple seconds and locked eyes. She closed that curtain as fast as she opened it and apologized about 100 times on her way out of the bathroom. I just started laughing when she had left and fully realized what had just happened. I finished my shower, went back downstairs and told my boss what happened. He bursted out laughing and asked if I liked what I saw. I answered with a yes. got a pad on the back and just went back to work. Me and my boss's wife never talked about it, but my boss would sometimes tease his wife with it when only us three were present. Gotta say, baller move telling him straight up that you liked what you saw. I used to work in IT, and an office manager asked me to stop by his house to look at his home computer. I knew from several people in the office that his wife did amateur porn. She answered the door in a bathrobe and I said, "I'm here to fix your computer." And she replied, "I've been expecting you. Come on in." Turned out to be a DNS issue. So I just set it to 8.8.8 and that resolved the issue.